Good evening. I hope you can all hear both of us loud and clear. And this evening, Saturday night, we'd like to welcome you to ELTea Time MENA. This is our coffee break style advancing learning podcast series, where for each episode, I am joined by a guest, an educator from right here in the MENA region, the Middle East and North Africa. And together we will engage in a 30-minute or so discussion on a contemporary topic of our guests choosing over a nice cup of tea. Yes. And today I am joined by Fatmah Azam Ali, and it was her son a few minutes ago. I saw him there in the background. It was very nice to see his cute little cheeks there.
Thank you.
Fatmah, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I have joined ELTea Time with my cup of coffee. Nothing against tea, though. I like karak tea. I believe most of her, attendees would love to know that karak tea is one of the finest milk teas that we've got in the Gulf region.
Yes, it's a very popular one. In fact, it's weird because I've done a few of these now, and most of the guests seem to come with coffee. But EL coffee time, I'm sure it doesn't really have quite the ring to it. So yes. I've stuck with ELTea time. So I do have tea. I've gone back to fruit tea, actually. I've got, I think it's blueberry, pomegranate, and acai berry. So I've never tried it before. I'm using these ELTea times as a way to try new teas, actually. So I've had a few fruit ones, and I tried a really random one. In fact, I was thinking I've got another one next week, and I thought I might try something weird and unusual, like bubble tea or something that I've never had either. So.
Bubble teas are really good. I'm particularly a fan of bubble teas, especially the cold ones with those tapioca balls.
Yeah.
Those balls are another level. I mean, that's the only reason why I would have a bubble tea in the first place.
And I've never tried one, despite actually living in China, where they were like all the rage. Everybody was having them, and I never tried one. I don't know why. So maybe next week I will try bubble tea.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, so let's introduce our lovely guest this evening. Fatmah is the Executive Director and Master Trainer for the diploma programs offered by Master English Education and Training in the GCC, which is an ASIC UK accredited institution, if I've said that right.
Yes.
She's got over 15 years of national and international teaching experience. She's got an MA in TESOL. She's got a Trinity diploma in TESOL. She's currently a PhD candidate in education, leadership, and management. She's also an educational consultant. She's a curriculum developer. She's a journalist. She's written quite a lot for international publications on ELT and education content. She's been an IELTS examiner for speaking and writing. She's trained teachers for IELTS training. She works as an accredited consultant for ASIC UK. She's won awards in MENA twice. In Best Business Leader. You've spoken at, I couldn't even list them probably. So many conferences, workshops, school events, right across the GCC. You're a Cambridge certified trainer.
Yes.
You are also the president of KSAALT.
KSAALT, yes.
KSAALT, TESOL, and a whole bunch of other stuff. You do corporate stuff, you do ELT stuff, school stuff. You work with ministries, colleges, schools, you name it. Fatmah's probably been there. I was a bit worried. I mean, it's such an impressive bio. I was actually kind of worried that the bio would take up half of ELT time because it's huge. It's so impressive. You've done so many great things. So
thank you.
Like, we are so happy to have you here with us on this show this evening, and to be sharing a hot drink and having a bit of a chat. We wanted to talk today about professional development communities, because I think this is an area, where you've got so much experience to share, with our listeners. So today we're going to talk about, and the topic is about the importance and value of professional development communities. And I think this episode really builds on the first episode that we did. And if people listening haven't tuned into that yet, please do go to the MENA PD Academy website Go to the ELT Time section and you'll see all of the old recordings. But in that first episode, we were joined by the wonderful Isra Osman, which most of you probably know.
Yeah.
And in that one, we talked about the importance of PD itself, how to get started, how to make a professional development plan for the year, these kinds of things. And something she said in that very first episode was something along the lines of, an important element of teachers' professional development is teachers supporting each other, supporting one another. And that comment in that podcast really kind of jumped out at me. It really kind of resonated. It kind of, I guess, jumped off the podcast page, if you like, because I think we think about professional development as quite an isolated experience. It's quite often done with others. You're quite often together in the same workshop or together with other people in a webinar. But I think a lot of professional development is actually done solo.
Right.
It's teachers trolling the internet late at night, when family members have gone to sleep, for ideas and resources, doing courses, they're very often very individual, doing CELTA, doing your MA, especially these days, but now that things have moved online a lot, it can be quite an isolating experience, professional development.
Right.
I don't want to say a lot of that is unnecessary. I think a lot of it is totally necessary. So I'm not discouraging people from doing it. But I think the purpose of this podcast itself is to ask the question, is there more to PD than this learning just to improve one's own practice? How important really is doing professional development together with others as part of a community? So that's kind of the topic, the flavor of this element of this episode. And I don't want to assume that people don't do it together, because we know that they are. We're both involved in lots of communities, and we know that people are doing it together. But what we want to find out is what communities in MENA our teachers are part of, and what benefits do these bring to them, both as a teacher and as a learner, and beyond that as well as a person in general, I think. So, Nati, you can't hear me. Fatma, you can hear me perfectly, right?
Oh, no, I'm good. I think
Okay,
you're
good. I think the sound is okay, Natia. We've had some sound issues starting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe restart and come back in. Maybe it will work.
Yes.
Fatima, before we begin, anything you want to say based on that kind of introduction?
Well, that was quite intense. And when I come to, I mean, really, when you think about professional development as such, it begins as a solo journey, to be very honest. That's how I started, because the voice comes from within you. You start reflecting on your teaching practice. You start reflecting about your career. And that is when these questions they pop, and they before you become a part of the professional development community, it has to come from within, that okay, I need professional development, I need to be a part of the community. So before that even happens, it's a call. Not all of us are fortunate or blessed with that kind of a call, but then I believe most of our audience who are joining us, or who would see us live, or who would see us later, at one point or the other, they had that call technically. And then when that call came through, that is when things started happening. And initially you do start alone. I mean, I remember starting off my professional development with a teacher certification course, with a Trinity certification. And then I said, there must be more to this, especially in Saudi Arabia. You don't really have professional development done, something that's done universally. And that is when KSAALT happened. All of it was by just chance that I stumbled upon KSAALT, and I attended my first conference in the FAT University, and that was, I think, back in 2000. I believe 2011 or 2012, somewhere in between. And that is when I knew, oh my God, we do have professional development communities in Saudi Arabia. It's just that you need to hunt them. And then from there, I started working through, okay, I made a few contacts. universities, and then I got in touch with British Council, and then I came to know that they host PD activities and events. I started joining them, and then and through that I came to know of other schools who had some internal training in PD going on, and sometimes they were open to the public as well. I started joining those. So honestly, if they were, I mean, if I didn't get that call that okay, you have to go out there and hunt on for opportunities, and if I didn't start off solo, definitely all of these aspects wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But today, I believe, as of the COVID times, and since a lot of us are online, uh, professionals like us are out there to actually give a lot of people that call. They come, do some professional development, and
Yeah.
if they get that direction, great, fantastic. But if they don't, well, you can't say anything.
Yeah, and actually, I'm trying to think. I wonder whether or not a lot of teachers, when they first start out and they do their kind of initial training, they do a training, a teaching certificate, whether or not they really think that when they finish that, that's it. I'm trained to be a teacher. I've got my teaching certificate, and now I'm going to be a teacher.
Mhm,
Like, I wonder whether or not I can't really remember. It's such a long time ago for me, but
mhm.
whether or not it was really emphasized in that initial teacher training that you do, that you're going to need to continuously do this and refresh all the time. Education's going to update, and things are going to change. And
Mm.
I can't really remember. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Even not in my time. I mean, I've done
Yeah.
my teacher training qualification. I believe it was in 2010. Yes, that's when I got my Trinity certification.
Yeah.
And back at that time, I remember very clearly because I've done my Trinity qualification from UK. So I was in UK back at that time. And when I was doing that certification, nobody told us that, oh, you can be a part of professional development communities.
Yeah. No.
They did speak about it, but they didn't mention anything that would exist in our part of the world, like the Arab world as such.
Yeah.
And at the same time, nobody talked about, professionally developing yourself all the time. You
Yeah.
know, okay,
It was the same. It was
say
the
have
same thing for me. I mean, I did my CELTA before that. Actually, I might not look that old, but it was a lot. It
I
was a
know,
long time ago.
I know.
And nobody in my CELTA, I think, ever said, they were just like, here's your CELTA certificate, go and get a job, off you go, like, happy teaching.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe this is something that does, need to be talked a little bit more about, perhaps in the teacher training
Yes,
industry.
yes.
Okay, so sorry,
Most of our, I think, even the professional development courses, even till date, say I've been a part of a few salta observations where
Mm,
they have put on so much of emphasis on the teaching practice, on the different elements of teaching, and this, and the candidates are so involved in the intensive coursework
yeah,
that nobody talks about, okay, what next.
yes,
It's really interesting, Nathan, because I get teachers who come to me and they say, you know what, Miss Fatmah, we've done CELTA, now what?
yeah.
And then I go like, didn't the institution, where you got trained, weren't you supposed? Yeah, I mean, it is just so obvious that some people who are really smart, they go like, okay, after CELTA comes Delta. More
Yep.
than half of them, they don't even know Delta exists. Now they
Mm,
do. Now with COVID and everything, there's been a lot of awareness. But then I still get people who ask me, "Oh, I've done my CELTA. What next?" And
yeah,
that is when we start talking about professional development, specializations, EAP, ESP, you name it, is there.
yeah. It wasn't something we were originally going to talk about, but actually, I think this is a really interesting area of discussion. Actually, when somebody qualifies as a teacher, how do they find out about KSAALT? How do they find out about the academy? How do I connect with those people? The more
Right.
experienced you are, the more chance that you're going to find out through somebody that you're
Mhm.
connected to that these things exist. So it's definitely an interesting thing. I'll keep that in mind, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. I kind of want to pin down why it's important for teachers to support one another. What are the benefits of getting involved and being involved in these professional development communities from your point of view?
From my point of view, how has KSOL TESOL groomed me into the person I am today? From uh, from a teacher who just had a bachelor's degree, I was almost completing my master's, and with just one teaching certificate. How did I land from there to here? Today, I'm the president of KSOL TESOL, and I'm glad KSOL TESOL trusts me with my skills, with my judgment, regarding the organization. So, yes, it does help you greatly. When you are in a professional development community, you learn, I mean, we as teachers, we learn that it is just not about getting knowledge. It's not about just hunting out for opportunities. It is also about giving back to the community. So there are, a lot of the teachers that I know are unaware of the ethical part of professional development.
Right.
And one of the components, the ethical components of professional development, is if when you're receiving something, give back to the community as well. We as KSOL, TSOL, committee members, board members, if people think that we get paid, no, we don't get paid. And but we're still there for you, and we're willing to help you and guide you, and we are also doing our level best to make sure that we are out there to do a lot of awareness programs as well. So but when it comes to benefits, I felt KSOL TSOL membership in particular, it really boosted my CV in one way.
Mm.
When employers, they look at your education qualifications and they see that you're a part of a professional development community, it shows that you're an active member. You're active somewhere,
Yeah.
someplace. So
Mhm.
that adds up. And I do remember when I was working for the Canadian University of Dubai, and I was, helping the HR department sort candidates for job opportunities. So we were evaluating CVs, and he would pick the CVs with professional development courses versus those only with academic degrees, which is very interesting.
Yeah,
Very, very
very
interesting.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
They
guess
can, yes.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense really if you think about it.
Yes.
You can consider yourself the best teacher in the world,
Mm,
but but I mean, a big part of your teaching is whether or not you can build relationships in your classroom. So if you can prove that you can build relationships outside of the classroom, then that's
mhm,
kind of showing that you can do so with your students as well. And from an
mhm.
employer's point of view, I mean, it's something that I would probably look for as well, to be honest. So yeah, really interesting. And I think that's a great tip actually for
Yeah.
the people who are listening is
Mhm.
get involved. Not
Yes.
just showing that you've attended lots of things, but showing how you're actively involved. Yeah, really nice.
Yes, you can. They can take up a lot of opportunities. I mean, at KSOL, TSOL, at least we'd be happy to welcome anybody who would love to volunteer for the organization.
Yeah.
And we have got local events, we have got online events, we have got the annual conference. You name it. Anytime you're available and you would like to come and volunteer, just leave your name and email address with me or any of our committee members, and we definitely get in touch. We always welcome volunteers,
Of
and
course.
we do our level best to make sure that we take care of them in every possible way.
Oh, I can imagine you take care of them amazingly. I can imagine it. I'm sure you're
But
very,
I
very
can guarantee great food and great coffee. Apart from that, I mean,
and great
if they want
conversation.
anything else, we can see what we can do.
Yeah, well, what more can we ask for? Coffee, conversations, community. I think that's a really great thing. Okay, so that's maybe the professional side. Like, it can help a teacher professionally. What about the personal benefits? Are there personal benefits to being involved in things like KSOL?
For me, it was being. It helped me become more self-aware. It helped me step out of my comfort zone, which
Mhm.
actually helped me mature. I was able to develop my communication skills. I mean, the way I talk today, I don't think I would ever even dream of talking on podcasts or
Me
webinars or
neither.
conducting shows or anything or whatsoever. So definitely, what Saira Abbas says is also very true. It definitely enriches your professional knowledge and resources. So from within, I am seeking that. I'm seeking that internal validation for myself. So when I'm
Yeah.
a part of these communities, I feel that I'm giving back to the community. Number one.
Mhm.
Number two, it helps me with my own self growth. I put myself to a test and I see if I'm good at it, or how I can be a better educator or a better leader or a better team person,
Mm.
whatever it is. Yes.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I was preparing for this episode, obviously, so I was doing quite a lot of research. You
Mhm.
know, you've made a lot of friends, right, through these professional development. It's not just, oh, I've learned, how to teach phonics better in the classroom, or I've learned how to do a course and got a certificate. Those things are valuable, but you've made real friends,
Mhm.
connections, and people that you can talk to outside of teaching that give you
Yes.
support. And that well-being aspect is
Mm-hmm.
important for teachers. Depending on where you are, if
Mm-hmm.
you're in a more rural location, you might not have access to a lot of people. I mean, I've been an expat teacher in lots of different countries and in lots
Mm-hmm.
of different types of contexts. And the very first job I ever had was in Oman. And I taught for a very rural school, and I was isolated. I lived in a small village. No one, I didn't really speak Arabic, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
there really spoke English. So it's a very isolating experience. So, and I think that now that we've got this additional advantage of being online, lots of activities online, I think that I think people can get a lot personally from, being involved in these types of communities. People do build friendships, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with that, Nathan. In fact, teaching can be a very lonely profession if you don't have anybody to share your concerns or somebody to reach out to. We all need, from professional development communities, what I feel people achieve or get. It's not just about knowledge, like you just said. We make friends. I
Yeah.
have soul sisters in the TESOL TEFL community, which is amazing. They're looking out for me, and I mean, I do the same, vice versa, even if it means going out of the way. But the most important thing is what I got being a part of such an organization like KSAALT TESOL was
Yeah.
having a mentor, somebody to guide you through, somebody who would give you an unbiased advice and
Yeah.
would say, you know what, you need to do this. I've met the best mentors, and to be very honest, I mean, I've never, I don't think I can get better mentors in any other place except KSOL TESOL. Yes.
Yeah. And there's a question. Someone was asking about a differentiation, and I think, actually, to answer that question a little bit,
Sure.
I
Sure.
think that being part of those communities gives you exposure to different points of view.
Hmm.
And I think differentiation is all about variety. It's
Yes.
about seeing your class as a multiverse. It's not just there's content, students need to know it. They're interacting with different types of content in different types of ways. And the more you talk to other teachers about how they do that, the more ideas you get about how to differentiate your own content, I think. So actually, I think professional development communities and activities are key to being a better teacher in terms of differentiation. That's my answer to that question. I don't know if you've got anything you'd like to add to that, but
Yes, yes. In fact, it will help a lot of people to actually be more niche specific when it comes to their goals. You know,
mm,
there was this one time when I would get a lot of teacher CVs because I have schools, I've got universities who approach our institution as in Master English, not KSOL, TESOL, as in Master English, where they ask us if we know teachers who we can recruit for them. We just send referral CVs, nothing as with recruitment whatsoever. So what I've realized from that point of view, sometimes your CV gets too stagnant. You are just
sure.
showing the same skills. If I am, if I am the employer and I want to hire a teacher, say of young learners, I would love that teacher to have a I would love her to be a graduate and have not just some general teaching qualification, but also along with it something related to young learners
Yeah,
that would convince me that she is going to do justice with the role that I'm going to assign her.
yeah,
So we need a niche specialization. We need for schools. We need it for university instructors. We need even for instructors. It's not just about Trinity or SALTA or LTAC or all of these different qualifications. How about so after the basic qualifications such as the Trinity Level 5 certification, it's high time to specialize. say you want to enter standardized testing, or maybe you would want to go for ESP, EAP. The opportunities are quite open. I mean, the world is ours technically. So it's
Yeah.
really good to specialize. And niche specialization really helps with the job opportunities and the salary.
Yes, of course. And I think I would add to that. And if I think about it from the perspective of places like the US or the UK, where I'm from, this idea of when you were saying about doing things with young learners, this idea of doing voluntary work
Hmm.
in education, but also around education.
Hmm.
I started off doing voluntary work in the UK in nurseries. That's how I got
Hmm.
into education in the first place. So,
Hmm.
I really wanted to kind of find out about, you know, how do 4, 5, 6 year olds grow, learn a language, play-based learning. I was interested in that. So, while I was doing my degree, I volunteered. But then I volunteered outside of the UK as well. I went to Kenya quite a lot. I spent 6 months there. And I think the experience you get from that really helps to enrich you as a teacher. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you see your students as people before you see them as students, and it can be quite difficult. I think when you come out of school, college, you train as a teacher, you get your first job in the classroom. The
Mhm.
system has kind of trained you to think as a teacher. Like, okay, I've got curriculum, I've got assessment, I've got the rigor of school.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I took that route. I really am. Starting with people first, student first, and then, okay, like, how am I going to get this across to you afterwards? And again, that feeds into that differentiation conversation, I guess, a little bit.
Yes, pretty much. And I'd like to add to that, Nathan. I know a lot of teachers may not know about this. Professional development, yes, we do spend on our professional development. We allocate a budget for all of us. All of us, we allocate our own budgets annually for professional development. Those who are intensely involved, like myself, and probably even Nathan, yourself, and everybody else, we've got a budget, definitely. But
Yes.
those who cannot afford, sometimes I understand, especially with the COVID and everything, you cannot afford. So those teachers, see if your schools can arrange the teacher exchange programs. There are a lot of schools, at
Yeah.
least the ones I have been to in Finland, they have teacher exchange programs. It's amazing how you step into the classroom of another teacher and see and witness what you can learn from them that even the textbooks sometimes fail to teach, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
perhaps going for teacher exchange programs also is a really good idea. This is an area that I really want to bring to Saudi Arabia. It's not really common in Saudi Arabia. I don't know how about when I was there in UAE, it wasn't there still. But I would really love to see the teacher exchange programs, because it is such an active way of exchanging the teaching strategies and then learning from each other without
Hmm.
having to probably spend the dime. And then they can go, the teachers can go ahead for paid workshops and conferences. Definitely, one should go there. But then on an ongoing basis, if there's something that's manageable in a budget, I believe teacher exchange programs would add another level to a teacher's professional development.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, nice. Okay, so I want to move on to the next part. So you've
Mhm.
been involved in loads of teacher communities. There's
Mhm.
loads of examples that we're both giving here. And
Mhm.
you've also talked a lot about, what you've gained from these experiences, and
Mhm.
engaging with these communities. Something I said at the very beginning, I think we've been talking a bit about teachers and teachers developing professionally. But I think for me, ultimately, everything that we do in professional development should improve the student experience in the classroom. And
Absolutely.
you've got this quote on your website, and I love this quote. It says, "Life is all about learning. As teachers and educators, our responsibility extends far beyond teaching. Our role is to empower our learners." So I wanted to ask you about that quote. Why did you choose that quote? What do you mean by this kind of lifelong learning empowerment? Talk us through that quote a little bit, can you?
That is one quote that was inspired by, because what I felt was, when I was doing all these professional development courses for teachers, when I was conducting workshops or conferences whatsoever, teachers would just simply stop there and they would say, you know what, we are done. Well, life is all about learning. We keep learning every single day. Hence, and especially when you are a teacher, you really need to update your skills. You need to be in the profession. And now, I mean, when we are talking about, education, how it was in the past versus the education how it is right now, I mean, there's a massive difference. Hence, at any point, even if it means going and attending a webinar like today, we've got our wonderful attendees,
Yeah.
and then even if it means going to another city, or go, sacrificing your weekend and attending and learning something from somewhere, it should be a lifelong process. It should not be you cannot really put this up in a frame. If I were to say, don't restrict the PD opportunities. Just learn, and just like we take life as is and we keep going, I believe learning should also follow the same form.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're currently the president of KSAALT, right?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So for the people who are with us, if they don't know KSAALT, which I'm probably sure they absolutely do, KSAALT is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia Association for Language Teachers. So it's a non-profit professional service organization for
Right.
English language teachers. It was created in 2006
Mhm.
by just a handful of dedicated educators who had a desire to serve, educate, and connect English language teachers in Saudi Arabia through professional development with interactive and engaging general meetings, workshops, mini and annual conferences. That's what KSALT is, right? But
Yes.
what's it like to be the president? I mean, we don't get to talk to the president very often. What's it like? How did you get into it, and how do you feel about being this kind of president?
Wow. How did I get into it? It's an interesting story. I served on the KSOL Jeddah chapter team as a chapter rep for 2 years. And then our institution, Master English, has been, partnering with KSOLT so for a lot of their conferences for quite some time now. So the board of directors, Malika Sisay, and we have got Jad Michelson, Philin Delaney. Oh, they have been seeing me for quite some time, and I'm glad that they believe in me. And then after this, I was able to co-chair a conference in Jeddah, KSOL TSOL conference at the Jeddah Hilton Hotel, and it was a massive success. We had over 300 attendees from different parts of Saudi Arabia. We hosted international speakers, and we had international institutions taking part. It was an amazing event. So I believe after all of these opportunities, I was given the post of the president, and they said that, Kalas, take it forward. And as a president, there is a responsibility. Definitely, I have to make sure that KSOL TSOL is out there all the time. You're doing professional development courses, professional development events, and as such, we're having a series of workshops coming up, which will be done virtually. And then in around March, we would be having our annual conference in person in Jeddah, inshallah.
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah, great. It's nice, and I guess I was summarizing that you're not going to just become the president, right, of KSALT or TSOL Arabia or anything else. You
Mhm.
build that up over time, and you started somewhere. You got involved in something small that led to
Mhm.
something else. So,
Yes.
again, this is personal and professional development, you know, outside of the classroom. Getting
Right.
into newer things and
To give
bigger
your
things.
time, you have to dedicate yourself. You have to give some, you've got to give a lot of time. Sometimes you really feel like you get you get to that point where you think and you say, is it worth it? But then the kind of appreciation that you get, definitely, uh, it surpasses everything else when people say, oh my God, we just came to know about this organization. I wish we knew earlier. And now we're going to sign up being a member. Boom. That's when you know, okay, you're doing something right. So that keeps us going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so great. I was smiling to myself because I was looking at to Sarah's comment in the chat box. She's, but is baby also getting ideas to professionally develop in the future? I mean, can you think of a luckier baby than the baby right there? And
You will see
it's
it more often. Can I have my baby here
yeah,
just so we
bring
can
him
see
in.
his face?
He is definitely one of the. I mean, can you imagine the future of this lucky baby? You know, when his mother is as inspirational as you are. You know,
Oh,
he's got a great future for him.
I'm
But
glad you take it this way, Nathan, really.
well,
Um,
actually, it's interesting because at the very beginning I was saying about how impressive your CV, your bio was, but actually we missed off the most important job that you do off that bio, which is being a family member, being a mom. There he is. Look at those cute little cheeks. I've seen them several times in
you've
the
seen
last,
them before, yes, you've
and
seen them before.
they're too much. We want to eat them. Look at them. He's just so distracting. I don't know how we can continue.
Thank you so much.
Um,
He
I'm
says
trying.
that he will be the teacher of the future, inshallah.
Yeah, he will be a leader of the future. I think I can see it.
Inshallah, bismillah, inshallah.
Okay, so we've talked about KSAALT. You also work for Master English
Yes,
Training or MEET. Do
yes.
you want to tell us anything about them as well?
Yes, but Master English Education and Training, again, we support professional development. We are all about offering teachers professional development qualifications. Obviously, we're a private institution and we are registered in Saudi Arabia, licensed with the TVTC. And we also host a lot of conferences, accredited teacher training courses, and we have been doing for the past, this is our third year, we have been doing the masters in TESOL in education for teachers who would like to avail it in a hybrid mode, where
Mm.
they complete a part of their program here, and we help them transfer their credits to a UK university where they can pursue the remaining program. So it's a flexible teaching option, teaching and learning option for teachers who are still working.
Okay, good. So people can check that out as well.
Yes.
There is a link on the Academy website to meet, so you can go
Mhm.
and check that out. But I mean, you can type into Google Master English
Yes.
Training Saudi, and it'll pop up as the
Yes.
first. And
Yeah.
you'll see Fatma there on the front cover of the website, so you know you're in the right place.
Yes.
Actually, thinking about that photo, there's a photo on that website, which is a great photo.
Mhm.
It's just a kind of standard photo that you get from kind of any event. You know, everyone's kind of standing in a line or several lines.
Oh yeah.
These are all the attendees to the event. But actually, there's
Yes.
something really nice about that photo. I felt like there's a really strong shared sense of purpose and community in that photo. Everyone looks like they've had such a great positive time at whatever the event was. I'm not even sure what event it was. But do
Mhm.
you think that these professional development communities are stronger in some places than others? Do you think Saudi's got a really good sense of professional development community? Or do you think if you were in like Italy, it would be better? Or
Saudi has got a really good connection when it comes to professional development, to be very honest, so long as they're aware. If the teachers know that there's an event happening in the area, most of them would try the 99% level best to be there. Even if it means on spot registrations or anything of that sort, they're going to make it there. And Saudi Arabia boasts really good teachers. I mean, to be very honest, I mean, the kind of response that we have been getting so far, I have been in this, um, professional development line for over a decade now, almost 12 and a half years, 13 years. So looking at this, yes, baby, you can give your input later. So looking at that, aspect, so long as the teachers know, all of them would love to be a part of it. But then they would have to know in the first place. I believe we are lacking in something, despite so much of awareness, despite getting ourselves out there. I believe the awareness part is the part which we are still struggling with. So
Yeah.
we partner with Macmillan, we partner
Great.
with the other publishers to get ourselves out there and let teachers know, hello, we are here, and
Yeah.
come join us, and let's you know learn together. We are here for you, and they can reach out to us.
Yeah. Which is it is an important point, and it's a very difficult area to address. But I think if teachers are hungry in the first place, and
Mhm.
that's half the battle. And what we're doing is we are trying to connect up, across the whole region. A big part of professional development is putting people in touch with each other, not just
Right,
having the answers to what goes on in the classroom. That's a big
exactly.
part of what we're doing in the academy. Okay, so we've
Right.
mentioned the MENA PD Academy, which obviously I run, which does
Mhm.
loads of stuff. People have been commenting on it in the chat box. There is the website, menapdacademy.com. This week, at some point, I will be releasing a page on that website with all of our activities for the rest of the academic year. It'll change because we will obviously make new activities, but it's a hub, basically. There's going to be a hub, and you'll be able to register. It'll send you to other types of professional development, like what's going on with KSAALT. Are there any articles you can read on One Stop English? Are the British Council doing anything? So if the topic is about, let's say, phonics, the idea of the hub is that it will redirect you to further activities as well. So not just our webinars. That's how I'm designing it. Hopefully by the end of the week, I will release that, and I will post it on social media pages so that people can bookmark it, and hopefully it'll be a really good central space so people don't need to kind of go here and go there and try to find out what's going on. Hopefully that addresses that. So that's the MENA PD Academy. We've talked about KSAALT. Obviously, go and sign up to KSAALT. They've got a website. They've got lots of social media themselves. Get involved there. Fatmah, anything else? Anywhere else people can go other than these two places? TESOL Arabia is one.
TESOL Arabia, yes, but I'd like to give a shout out. I can see our president, George's Compass, is here. So let me give a shout out to TESOL Gulf. So anybody who is a part of the MENA region can join TESOL Gulf. I serve on the board of directors along with George's Compass. George's is our president, and he leads TESOL Gulf. So yes, you made it towards the end, George's. Yes. So here's a shout out to you and to TESOL Gulf. So please come and join TESOL Gulf as well. So it's good to be a part of a bigger community as well. TESOL is the Saudi community. The MENA community would be TESOL Gulf.
Excellent. And there's lots of TESOLs, right? I see a lot of things from Kuwait, actually. TESOL Kuwait, they're very active.
Yeah, TESOL Kuwait is there.
So
yes, and there's one in Qatar as there. There's one in Qatar as well.
There is, yeah. And there's I think pretty much every Gulf country has its own annual conference. There's the Qatar University Conference, I think it's next week.
Yes.
So there's loads of stuff going on. And the nice thing about, again, like COVID has shifted a lot of things online. So people don't need to now travel to Muscat to attend the conference. A lot of it's become it's become free. So, lots of things that people can get involved in. And again, I think we were saying before, don't just attend and just listen and get your certificate. Try and find ways of getting involved, push yourself. Can you do a poster presentation at one of the conferences, something small, and build up over time. And there's some really interesting, innovative things going on. I saw recently, actually, looking at your LinkedIn profile, that you were part of a WhatsApp PD presentation, right? So they did professional development activity over WhatsApp completely.
WhatsApp completely, and believe me, it was an amazing experience by Harry Kucha. I cannot thank him enough. I mean, I would have never known one could pull off a presentation on a WhatsApp group. I mean,
you would have thought, yeah. I've never heard of such a thing. So maybe this is something to do as well. Maybe I should start a WhatsApp. What's it? Business WhatsApp, right? There is now. Maybe I should start a group of business WhatsApp and do activities on there. It gives us ideas all the time. Yeah, and this is what it's all about, I think.
It's all about learning. Going back to our quote again.
It is all about learning, all about our students, and all about learning.
Yes.
Okay, so we're coming towards the end. I knew that we would have tons to talk about, and obviously we're not just two; we are three in the room. So he's had a few little rebels and babbles in the background, helping us along.
Yes.
We come to the end of the discussion, so I want to kind of summarize. I like to kind of finish the podcasts on a kind of practical note, on with some tips. I've got a couple. The first one I would say is that it's about the relationship aspect of schooling. I think that it's not separate from teaching and learning. I think it's integral. I think you can't just think of it as curriculum content students receive, moving on from year to year. I think that this relationship aspect has become a lot more important, as a topic of conversation within professional development. And again, professional development, I think in the past has been seen as, how are you going to help me teach this aspect, speaking better? Whereas now, even within Macmillan, we've got the advancing learning themes. Advancing well-being is one of those themes. It's independent. And I think that's a really nice move. So that would be my first tip, focus on that relationship aspect within education. The second tip I would say around PD communities is learn how to ask for help, and learn, I don't want to use the word selfish, but learn how to, say no, learn how to set high expectations about the kind of support that you receive. I think that's really important because I think teachers give a lot. Teachers see it as this kind of philanthropic, place to work, and they give and they give and they give. And I think you need to expect that same high quality in receiving that as well. There are a couple of tips. Do you have anything you want to share as a kind of final tip, final idea?
Well, going back to the quote again, never stop learning. If you we are teachers, we will forever be teachers, retired or not. We need something for our growth and development. And then as one becomes a part of professional development and professional development communities in general, we are contributing and we are learning at the same time. So I don't think, I would go any other way. I mean, personally, if somebody asks me, well, would there be a point of time in my life where I would probably quit professional development communities? Answer is no. As long as I live, I will be a part of professional development communities, because that is what gives me goals. That is what helps me satisfy my inner conscience and makes me realize that I'm here to contribute and I'm here to learn.
Yeah. And it's actually, you said something, and it's really interesting because, I'm in quite a few of these communities. There is actually quite a high number of retired teachers that keep attending these things. I was having a conversation on LinkedIn chat, actually, just last week with someone, and they're still coming in and they're saying, oh, I really love the webinar. I don't teach anymore, but, it was really interesting to see, and this was my experience, which is amazing. People don't just walk away. They feel that inner teacher for life, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've come to the end. Of course, we've mentioned the MENA PD Academy. It's a PD community in itself. I'm sure lots of you have been following my work in the academy. I'm sure you know how passionate I am about this particular topic. It does form a central part of the development of the academy. So we do take your ideas on board, and we're trying to shift PD from being this individual activity towards something that is achieved as part of being a community. And there's lots of reasons why I think that's important. I didn't actually mention it, if you don't know me that well. I trained as an anthropologist. So I studied a lot of around things like the importance of community, the fact that it helps us feel motivated, valued. It gives us a connected sense of shared purpose, these kinds of things. And I think there's been this big push recently as well for more collaborative, relationship-based models of learning in the English language classroom. That's, it's interactions, questions, conversations in the classroom, that makes education vibrant and meaningful for young people. And I think that stuff ultimately helps to embed learning. That's kind of my final comments. Anything you want to finish with as a final note?
I believe you have summed it up beautifully, Nathan.
Yeah.
So let's close this on this beautiful note.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Because my cup of tea has come to an end, and I'm sure your coffee probably has as well.
So is mine.
Perfect. Fatmah, I will leave you for the evening. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Thanks to the guys who have been joining us in the chat box. Loads of people commenting in the chat box, which has been great. I will go through the chat later, and if anyone has made a really nice comment, I will pull it out and get in touch with them. We hope you enjoyed the discussion today. Please go check out our other ELTea Time MENA episodes on the website. From now, though, from Fatmah and myself, we wish you and your students all the very best for the academic year ahead, and we look forward to seeing all of you actively involved in all the various PD communities that are out there and available for you. From me, goodbye, Fatmah. It was so lovely to spend this time with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Enjoy the evening, yeah? Okay, good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.